We've received many more Battlefield 6 leaks, including the exact time the open beta starts, all the maps we'll have at launch, juicy information from the EA investors call that just happened today, and more. What's up gamers, my name is Sphinx and I plan on making tons of content for Battlefield 6, including news, guides, leaks, and whatever else you guys want to see. So like and subscribe to stay up to date with all the Battlefield 6 information your heart can handle. Getting straight into it, the first and probably most exciting news is that it seems like the open beta on the 4th rumor has been corroborated by many at this point and will most likely be happening in less than a week now. However, just today we got an exact time from the 1BF Telegram, which has given us plenty of correct information in the past. So according to this source, the open beta release is set for August 4th at 1800 MSK. Now this is in Moscow Standard Time, which is 7 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time and 10 hours ahead of PST. So if this information is accurate, then we'll have our hands on the open beta on August 4th at 11 in the morning Eastern Time. Now, of course, whenever we talk about leaks, take this with a grain of salt, especially because I wouldn't be surprised if EA decides to pull some kind of pre-order to get access to the beta earlier type deal. I mention this because Tom Henderson, who we originally heard from about the open beta being on the 4th, has just gone ahead and said he thinks the 4th of August date might be wrong. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean it will be later, and many people are actually assuming that it could mean that we get to play the open beta right after the reveal on August 1st. On a related note, we do have an exact time for the Battlefield 6 multiplayer gameplay reveal, which we now know will take place on the 31st of July at exactly 11:30 a.m. PST. That's 2:30 EST. So I'm sure we'll get plenty of news and things to talk about around then. Then, as if we didn't have enough news or leaks about the open beta, we also just found out today that the Battlefield 6 open beta will also have a player stat page, something that we didn't get in Battlefield 2042 for a while after the game released. So that is great to see, and another step in the right direction that we'll be getting it in the open beta, let alone after release in Battlefield 6. Now, changing topics a bit, we have the full list of maps that are coming to the game on launch. This was leaked a while ago, but it seems like we're more free to talk about leaks and show certain stuff, as we also have leaked concept art images that can be paired up with each of these map locations. So I've made a bit of a graphic here where you can see the full list of all maps that we'll be getting, including new ones like Abbasid and Battery, which we've actually seen a lot of leaked Battlefield Labs footage of. We also have maps that take place in the US like Eastwood, and returning maps such as Operation Firestorm from Battlefield 3 and Downtown from Battlefield Hardline. But let's go over each of these and break them down, where they're from, and what to expect. And I'll also be showing the concept art images associated with each map as I talk about them. Starting from the first map on the list, we have Abbasid, which takes place in Cairo, and we've actually seen a good amount of this map from the Battlefield Labs playtest. We know it has kind of a mix of a rural and urban setting, with lots of narrow streets and plenty of buildings that you can enter, many of which have multiple floors. The next two images are from Cairo again on a map called Outskirts. This map looks like it's going to be much more open with sparse buildings and probably be more vehicle focused. The other cool thing I wanted to mention is that the tank going through the building is actually something that's possible in game with the excellent destruction that Battlefield 6 seems to be providing us this time around. Next up we have Battery, which is set in Gibraltar. This map is yet again one we've seen plenty of from the Battlefield Labs leaks. It features narrow pathways, buildings that are several stories tall, and gorgeous scenery in the background, including explosions that go off periodically and a large fire in the distance. Check out some of my other videos to see in-game footage of what Abbasid or Battery look like. Next up, we have another map set in Gibraltar called Limestone. From the two concept images we have, Limestone seems like it might be yet another close quarters map filled with plenty of venerable buildings and alleyways to navigate through. After this, we go to Tajikistan where we have Capstone. We actually have 3 images of Capstone and have seen the map in Battlefield Labs playtests. Capstone features a battle on the mountainside with long-range sightlines for sniping, defensible positions, and plenty of air and ground vehicles. It's also definitely the biggest map that we've seen actual footage of so far. Moving on from that, we have Tungsten, which feels obviously similar to Capstone as they are both set in Tajikistan, but this one, just from the concept art, feels like it's a little more flat and a lot more vehicle focused. It also seems like there's a river that might be cutting the map in half, which might have some gameplay implications. Next we go to the US, where we have 4 maps set in 2 different locations. The first is Dumbo, which takes place near the Manhattan Bridge in New York City that we see destroyed in the trailer. The Dumbo Archway is actually a popular destination that lets you go under and across the bridge. We also have the map Aftermath, which again takes place in New York City near the Brooklyn Bridge, which we also see attacked in the trailer. Together, both these maps seem to be fairly close quarters with hopefully lots of buildings that we can enter and plenty of destruction to be had. For the next two maps, you go to the other side of the US in California, where we have Eastwood, a map with lush greenery, open wide sightlines, and maybe a few small towns or suburban areas. The other map, Badlands, is similar but opposite. It seems like it also features wide flat areas with little to no cover, and instead of being green, it's very deserty and dry. This takes place near some oil drilling sites, and I'm sure we'll see plenty of fire and explosions on this map, as it's likely also vehicle focused. For the final new map for Battlefield 6, we have Granite, which we have several images of. However, it seems like this is actually a map made for the upcoming Battle Royale or Gauntlet modes, and though I didn't cover it, we got news a few days ago that it seems like EA is planning on releasing the Battle Royale component of Battlefield 6 a while after the initial launch of the game, so we might not see this map for some time. It does, however, take place in California once again, and we actually have an image from the leaker Temporeal that shows what it will look like and some of the locations it will have. As you can see, it's a large map with plenty of little suburban areas, a prominent docks area, mountains near the top and right side, and even a lighthouse on the bottom left. There are also supposedly extensive underground areas that connect some of these locations. Overall, it does seem like a pretty standard Battle Royale map, but obviously we can't say much more about it until we actually get our hands on it. Then we have returning maps, and you might be familiar with some of these, or maybe you haven't ever heard of them depending on which Battlefield games you've played. We first have the beloved Operation Firestorm from Battlefield 3. This is a desert map set in Iran, which features a factory-like setting with big warehouse-like buildings on the right side of the map and a wide open battlefield with a military outpost on the left side of the map. We also have Propaganda from Battlefield 4. Propaganda is set in the capital of North Korea and features snowy terrain, urban environments, and plenty of venerable buildings. Next, we have Talal Market, another map from Battlefield 3 which takes place in Iran again, in a desert-like but urban environment. It features a bit of a square-shaped play area, lots of cover, and plenty of destruction. Talal Market was also featured as a Conquest Assault map, which likely means that the mode will be making a return to Battlefield 6. The final returning map we have is Downtown, which is actually a map from the Battlefield Hardline game that takes place in the financial district of Los Angeles. It features many skyscrapers, large wide streets, underground areas, and more. Now, I won't mention too much about the last bit of information we have, as the next set of leaks spoils the information about campaign missions coming to Battlefield 6. So skip ahead if you don't want to hear any of this, but we do have mentions of a night raid in Cairo, which we kind of saw in the trailer with those soldiers wearing night vision goggles, a defense mission in Brooklyn, which we might be losing because later on we have an attack mission in Brooklyn, which tells me we have to take Brooklyn back from the Pax Armada. Again, like kind of spoiler, but also it's not like I wrote the game, so I could be wrong. We also have a tank mission in Cairo, which is definitely the tank scene we saw from the trailer. Like I said, I don't really want to spoil this for myself, and I don't want to spoil it for you, so there's no point breaking it down any further, and we'll just leave it at that. Next on the list is this post on Reddit, which was a screenshot of a tweet from Rival X Factor saying there are wall hacks in Battlefield 6. Now obviously I can't say if I've played in the playtest, but suffice it to say I have not seen any sort of wall hacks in any of the gameplay. And then, to confirm, we actually got a response by David Sirlin, the lead producer on Battlefield 6, that confirmed that this was something that was tested a long time ago on Battlefield 6 labs, just as a means to test all avenues of gameplay, and has long since been removed. The final news I have for you guys is related to the quarterly EA Investors conference call that happened just today on July 29th. Now, this is some of the most exciting things I've heard about Battlefield 6, or it could just be them hyping the game up. So from this investors call, we learned that apparently over 1 million people signed up for the Battlefield Labs playtests. I didn't expect that many signups for the test, and this just goes to show you how passionate Battlefield fans are and how their crazy goal of 100 million players might just be possible. We also got this list of content creators that will be at the event. Obviously, I'm not going to read all the names, but there's some OG content creators and also some new ones, which is good to see, especially if they're trying to bring some of the audience over from other games over to the side of Battlefield. They also mentioned that the presentation on the 31st will be the largest in the series' history, and this could definitely just be hype, but we're close to it, so I guess we'll just wait and see. We also heard a little bit about their marketing strategy, including claims that, quote, "We have invested more in this Battlefield than in any other. We are building it as a platform, and in 2 days you will learn a lot about where we put that money." Along with, Again, quote, "Players in Battlefield Labs have only seen part of the content. On the 31st, players will get their first real sense of the scale of the game awaiting them." Now, again, this could just be hype, but it's definitely exciting to hear, and it seems like they're at least attempting to get the word about Battlefield 6 out there and trying to make sure that everyone, no matter what kind of games you're into, hears about and gets excited about Battlefield 6. And when they mention the real sense of the scale of the game awaiting them, I kind of get it, because we have the multiplayer, the single player, then we have Portal, which we haven't really heard anything about, but Portal has infinite potential. And then we also have Battle Royale and a mode called Gauntlet, which again, we have heard very little about. So yeah, it might be right. The scope of this game could be immense. The last bit of information we heard is this little message that says, "We built the modes based on what veterans and newcomers to the series expect from the game, including players of COD, and we would like to give players what they truly expect this time." This tells me that they're trying to hit the balance between doing the classic good old Battlefield experience and also attempting to try new things and to garner new audiences. That's exactly what I was hoping for Battlefield 6, and it's a part of how EA can finally catch up to or even get ahead of its competition. So guys, that's all the Battlefield 6 news I have for you guys from the past few days. My next update will probably be on the 31st after we see the full multiplayer gameplay reveal. Remember to like and please subscribe, as I plan to make lots more Battlefield 6 content as we get into the beta and then the release. My name is Sphinx, thank you for watching.